Okay, no ceilings, motherfucker, good morning. Dick in your mouth while you yawning. Shit. I bust that nigga ass right now. Ain't no niggas can't fuck. What? Nigga, you could never fuck me, my nigga. I'll fuck you up right now. What? Bust your motherfucking ass, boy. I ain't no motherfucking joke. You know who you talk to? Old dirty bastard. You know what I'm saying? I'll fuck you up right now. Yeah. What? That nigga, yo. He ain't saying nothing. Fuck him. I'm the one man army ain't showing. I never been cooking out. I keep MCs looking out. I drop signs like Crosby dropping babies. Enough to make a nigga go crazy.
Hey, twin. Oh, really? Yeah, I've been gone for a couple of days. So this is definitely an op reading. I said if I don't get on now, I'll do it late. I'll do it after 20. Okay. So this is an op reading, child. Spirit wants to talk to the ops. So the message I channeled is your opposition is the composition of your life. And so composition relates to music, and I get a lot of music in my readings. And but I'm gonna look up the spiritual significance of composition. And the ancestors coming through with this song. And I'm also hearing like a composition notebook where, history is written. And he said shit like horses and other animal poop. Compost. You said, okay, so the spiritual significance of a composition can refer to its use as a vehicle for expressing or exploring spiritual themes. Its function as a spiritual discipline or the spiritual meaning inherent in its structure and arrangement. Composers and artists can use their work to convey spiritual ideas, meditate complex emotions, or enact values, while the very act of composing can be seen as a practice of self reflection and inner balance. And the resulting composition may contain symbolic or abstract meanings that evoke spiritual states in the viewer or listener. Thank you. You said now be quiet because that's what I've been writing in for my business. Okay. Expressing spiritual themes, evoking the divine, art and music are often used to explore spiritual concepts, express all, or communicate deeper realities that are difficult to articulate through ordinary language. Conveying universal symbols. Artists may use abstract forms, geometric shapes, and colors to express universal spiritual truths and the perceived harmony of the universe. In many cultures, compositions are explicitly created to express sacred texts, such as the use of calligraphy to convey religious verses in Islamic art. Composition is a spiritual discipline, inner balance. The process of composing can be a spiritual discipline that requires patience, focus, and slowing down, which helps to cultivate inner, mental, and emotional strength and balance. The creative process can be a way to enact and explore deep values such as compassion, hope, and care for others. Yes. And I said, your opposition is the composition of your life. That's alchemy. That's transmutation. I've been talking about writing in order to transmute energy. He said, yes, of course. Their hate will never determine your fate. However, it will elevate you while never penetrating you. All of their knees shall bow, or better yet, kowtow. Let me look up the spiritual significance of kowtow. He said, do you not think so far ahead? Because I've been thinking about forever. And honey, when the ops make choices for their destruction, they're not thinking so far ahead. They're not thinking about forever. They're not thinking about that eternity, that eternal karma. The spiritual significance of kowtow is rooted in demonstrating the highest level of reverence, respect, and submission. Mm, mm, mm. It says, it is a ritualistic act of prostration where a person kneels and bows their head to the ground, symbolizing humility and a belief that the physical act influences the mind to feel profound respect. Historically, this was performed for religious worship to show deference to the emperor or local magistrate and to honor ancestors or elders. However, when the ops kowtow, it avails nothing. I was getting your history is no longer a mystery. So all of the energies who are the most powerful will be revealed. And the song on right now is All Eyes on Me. And I was getting the ages have simply been the stages to your stardom. There will be no pardons when justice is served. He says, so much trouble in the world, nigga. I was hearing there will be no pardons when justice is served. So many will be unnerved. He said, not you got the automatic trap on. I was hearing their deceit is what leads to their defeat. Snakes with all of their skin, they'll never win. So when a snake sheds skin, its transformation is becoming new, and it's shedding old ways of being, old ways of thinking, old ways of acting. But if you keep that, if you retain that skin, I'm hearing it's like putting new wine in old wine skin. The energies they call upon are far gone, never to return, leaving them to burn. Oh, I have my little tapper on the thing. And so I'm hearing the energies they call upon. I said that the energies they call upon are far gone, never to return, leaving them to burn. And so what I have found, and I've talked about this before, is that some of the people who have come against me the hardest are some of the most powerful spiritual beings, some of the most ancient energies reincarnated, some of the most wise, gifted, powerful, magical beings. And what happens is when these energies, who are very powerful, use their gifts for evil, that is one of the ultimate sins. Because you agreed in your soul contract with the Galactic Council to fulfill the prophecy I'm hearing, to support other spiritual beings here for a high calling and definite purpose. And a lot of these people who I'm speaking of are powerful because they are reincarnated deities and other very powerful beings. And so what Spirit was talking to me about earlier is that using your personal power for evil, especially against other people who are here to support, love, help to elevate the consciousness of the collective, and who are working on behalf of the Most High, when you use your power, that deity power, to come against other very powerful beings, that is equivalent to these whack-ass spiritualists who call on very powerful energies like the Orishas, to do harmful spell work. And when you use your energy or you call on the energy of these loving, expansive, healing energies to do dirty work, he said, don't sleep, you gotta stay up. Because your dreams are going to be wrecked. You are so just in a state of unrest, in a state of anxiety, because there is nothing that angers these energies more than someone trying to come against another powerful energy with their energy. Because these ancient reincarnated people, energies, whatever you want to call them, these energies who have entered a vessel are intricately connected to all of these energies. So you're in essence asking these people's own energy to come against them. Now, I don't even know the thought process behind that. I pity the fool who practices e-file or whatever other practice you want to practice, and use your relationship with Orishas and other energies and entities to come against pure-hearted beings. That's wild. So he said, saint with a sinner's mind. I mean, that's exactly what I just said. Let me look at that. He said, and I smile like a saint with a sinner's mind. These are the same people that get up on TikTok and act like they for the collective and they love the collective and they want to build communities and bring people together to uplift each other and all of this. And meanwhile, they are doing the work of the enemy with powerful energy that they possess. She said, keep on. So, defaulted contracts lead to the repossession of every possession let me start again. Defaulted contracts lead to the repossession of every possession that was and never could have been. They should have shed that skin. And this is not to say that these powerful energies don't have a past. And that's what shedding the skin is. When I was younger, I was very angry, ornery, borderline hateful. You know, I had a lot of struggles that I was dealing with. And so I'm not proud of that. That's not a badge of honor. But I got to a point where I couldn't stand myself. And I said, you know what? If I can't stand myself, I know my kids don't like me. I know other people don't like me. I walk around with resting bitch face. Like nobody wants to be around that type of energy. And when you have very powerful energy and don't know it, that type of anger can really project out to the world in a very harmful way. And that's why I was talking about the energies they call upon are far gone, never to return, leaving them to burn. Because you can either transmute that energy through fire for your power, for the good of others, or you can use that fire to burn yourself up. And this is for entertainment purposes only. We're not promoting any kind of violence, okay? We're speaking metaphorically. The pain they avoided was their power voided. That's what I just said. You can either use that fire to transmute it for your good. You can sit in that energy and acknowledge it and heal it and work through it. Or it will destroy you. Fire can either warm you, warm the hearth of your home, or it can destroy the whole shit. So would you rather be warm and cozy and comfy and sipping wine and eating cheese and crackers in front of the fire with your boo? Or would you rather be homeless because your house done burnt down? And she said, you can just go, walk on, keep on. And like I was saying, powerful energies used by the enemy. Powerful energies used by the enemy. That's no friend to me. Or the Most High. We're supposed to be friends of the Most High. We're supposed to allow the Most High to use our vessel for the divine's highest and best good, for the collective's highest and best good, for our highest and best good. And I was hearing, God is nigh to you, but they are through. And let me just look up God is nigh. I know it means God is near. What y'all know about Superman? So the spiritual significance of God is nigh or God near is that of divine accessibility, like I was talking about, being left behind. Divine accessibility, presence, and the promise of God's active involvement in human life, while also signifying the urgency of spiritual readiness for his coming or judgment. It's a concept that involves a reciprocal relationship where humans are called to draw closer to God through faith, prayer, and obedience. And in return, God promises to be near them. It can also be interpreted as a reminder that God's presence is near in times of both joy and hardship. And I'm also talking about that as well because when you are going through hardship, it's hard to believe that God is near. It's hard to believe that you're protected. And it's also hard to pray. It's harder to worship. It's harder to be thankful. It's harder to be grateful. And when you're in that energy, That is what breeds envy, deceit, jealousy, backbiting, backstabbing, spell work, all of the things that I'm talking about. They are going to live in the zoo of caged animals. And I'm going to look up the spiritual significance of zoo. Give me one of them. Give me one of them. So, the spiritual significance of a zoo can be found in themes of connection, reflection, and stewardship. And a zoo can offer a space to connect with nature and the divine by observing animals, which can symbolize parts of the self or teach lessons about living in the present, inclusivity, and healing. Spiritual zoos can also symbolize stewardship for creation, a place to contemplate humanity's role in the world, or a metaphysical representation of a chaotic environment that requires discernment and order. And that's what I've been talking about. These people that come against these powerful, loving energies or try to utilize these powerful, loving energies for evil are going to be basically caged in a zoo to have to self-reflect on what they could have done but did not do, and are in turn going to be trapped all together in this low vibrational, chaotic environment that requires discernment and order. And in the video that I posted the other day, I was basically talking about that. Like, you know, when you act a monkey, you get kicked out of the higher realms of existence and consciousness. And then you get placed in the zoo. Hence Earth. And I was hearing, now the song on is Denial is a River. Folks in denial end up in the zoo. And so I was hearing the song Brooklyn Zoo by ODB. Let's have a listen. Shall we?
I bust that nigga ass right now. And shit. I bust that nigga
Hey,
ass right now.
thank you for the gifts.
What? Nigga, you could never fuck
Thank
me,
you
my
everyone
nigga.
for the
Now
gifts.
fuck right now. What? Bust your motherfucking ass, boy. Ain't no motherfucking joke. Know who you talking to? Old dirty bastard. You know what I'm saying?
Shame on you.
Right now. Yeah. What? That nigga, yo. He ain't saying nothing. Fuck him. I'm the one man army ain't showing. I never been taken out. I keep MCs looking out. I drop signs like Crosby dropping babies. Enough to make a nigga go crazy. Energy building, taking all types of medicine.
Energy building.
You were better than a son. I keep planets in orbit.
I keep planets in orbit.
Put in more shit. Enough to make you break and shake your ass out today. Rhyme good as a tasty cake makes. This style I'm mastered in. Niggas catching headaches. What? You need aspirin? The type of pain you couldn't even kill with Midol. Fuck around, get sprayed with Lysol. In your face like a can of mace, baby. Isn't burning what fucking now you're learning. How? I don't even like your motherfucking profile. Give me my fucking shit. Wow, that's even heard. No one knows. You forget. Niggas be quiet as kept. Now you know nothing before you do a whole fucking lot. Your ass don't wanna get shot. A lot of MCs came to my showdown. Then watch me put your fucking ass low down. As you can go below zero. Without a doubt, I never been taken out.
I never been taken out.
Couldn't figure, yeah, by a nigga who couldn't figure, yeah, by a nigga who couldn't figure how to pull a fucking gun trigger. I said, get the fuck out of here. Nigga wanna get too close to the utmost, but I got stacks that'll attack any wacko.
Wanna get too close to the utmost.
My hip hop drops on your head like rain. And when it rains, it pours. Up my rhymes hardcore.
When it rains, it pours.
Tell them that I got what was out the spot. MCs, I'll be burning
I'll be burning hot.
Slower with the flow. If I move too quick, oh, you just won't know. I'm homicidal when you're into the target. Nigga, get up, act like a pig, try to hold shit. So I take your ass out quick, the mic's some had it, my nigga. You can suck my dick. If you wanna step to my motherfucking rep, bow.
Okay, we're not promoting violence. This is a metaphor.
Slacking on your back because raw's what you lack. You wanna react? Bring it on back. Same with you when you stepped up to the old dirty bastard. Brooklyn, sure. Same with you when you stepped up to the old dirty bastard. Brooklyn, sure. Same with you when you stepped up to the old dirty bastard. Brooklyn.
All right, let's look up Old Dirty Bastard. Because we've been talking about the ops. Old Dirty Bastard sounds like an op to me. Hold on. So, well, this is actually talking about ODB. But it says that he rooted in his deep connection to the 5% Nation. Now, Wu-Tang is forever, okay? Wu-Tang was tapped in back then, okay? So they were 5%ers, a movement that believes the black man is God and emphasizes spiritual enlightenment. Despite a chaotic and tumultuous life, his spirituality was a constant, influencing his persona as a member of the Wu-Tang Clan. His legacy is seen through his unwavering expression of his beliefs, which include the belief in supreme mathematics. You know, the universe is built on supreme mathematics. And the idea of being one of the low gods or earth gods. So despite his erratic behavior, those close to him described him as deeply spiritual. His lack of fear was connected to breaking... His lack of fear was connected to breaking mental slavery and achieving spiritual freedom. I can't make it up. I'm gonna say define an old dirty bastard. They still talking about ODB, the rapper. So a dirty bastard, according to the Urban Dictionary, is someone who may be acting like a wanker, a prick. Oh, the words, the language. A twat. Like, I really tried to whisper that like that matters. Sometimes a right pain in the arse. But anyway, Okay, never mind. All Google wants to bring up is the rapper. All right. So not even fit for barnyard fowl. So barnyard fowl, there is some positive spiritual significance to barnyard fowl. But barnyard fowl is basically stay on the ground. They're not soaring in the air like eagles. I went to North Carolina Central University and they draw differences between an eagle who soars high and can see things from a higher perspective and barnyard fowl that stays on the ground that can basically just navigate the ground and see from their vantage point, which is just, you know, basic everyday human life, lower levels of consciousness. Chickens are associated with cowardry, even though I would venture to say that the divine probably doesn't like that comparison, but it's relevant, you know, because people who are in constant opposition to others are basically cowards. Like they're very much so in fear. When you live in anxiety and fear of the unknown, fear of the future, lack of faith, all of those things cause you to want to come against others, do destiny swaps, take what other people have worked very hard for. It's basically like someone who never worked hard, never tried to do anything to be self-made, never really tried to accomplish their own, create a, wealth, use their creativity, and would rather, rob somebody else who's actually doing what they need to do, who actually did the work to amass their wealth. And so that's why it's illegal to do that shit, because that is cheating. That's not getting it out the mud. That's not doing it the legit way. Because it's just like doing the shadow work is going down in the trenches and having to build yourself up and do the work to get where you need to go. And it doesn't mean that you have to, kill yourself to get there. It just means that you have to navigate through the challenges and continuously build your faith so that you're able to navigate challenges in a more seamless way. It doesn't mean that life isn't going to throw you curveballs or challenges. It just means that you are building your faith and your strength so that you can just focus on yourself. You don't have to focus on anybody else. And that is a distraction. That is misplaced energy, because when you're focused on yourself, then you don't have to worry about what the next person is doing. You don't have to worry about what the next person is getting. You don't have to worry about what the next person is doing with their gifts. You stay in your lane, you focus on yourself. And then once you get to a point where you're able to feed people from your overflow, then that's when you start sharing your gifts with the world, sharing your wisdom, sharing your positive energy. Nobody wanted me to share that negative energy that I was in when I was younger. I could keep that shit to myself. Nobody wants to interact with that. Okay. You said crazy because I said robbing Peter to pay Paul. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So I'm gonna look up spiritual significance of barnyard fowl. And so chickens are used in some traditions as sacrifices to symbolize a reminder that life is in God's hands. Duality, the contrast between the hen and the rooster, is often used to represent feminine nurturing and masculine assertiveness. So, like I said, there is positive significance to barnyard fowl, but in the context of this reading here, it's not. Yeah, spirit's like nah. So this, and what we're talking about is these people are not even fit to be barnyard fowl. So not only are you not soaring like an eagle, because like I was saying, my school's mascot is an eagle, and so you're not even soaring like an eagle. You're not even fit to be barnyard fowl. Their jowls. Well, let me go back. So, barnyard fowl hold spiritual significance as symbols of nurturing, protection, and sacrifice, and as messengers or guardians in various cultures. Okay. Metaphor for God's protective love. Their jowls are full of lies. All that will be heard are cries. Let me look up jowls. Let me look up jowl. So, jowls can symbolize strength, dignity, or a stubborn, defiant attitude. And so, in the context of this reading, we are talking about a stubborn, defiant attitude. And the jawbone is actually linked to divine strength. Some interpretations connect the jaw and jowls to speech, perception, and the expression of inner beliefs such as spiritual understanding or a hardened spiritual resolve. And I said, their jowls are full of lies. All that will be heard is cries. A hardened face, and I was talking about me having resting bitch face back in the day. A hardened face or jaw can symbolically represent spiritual obstinacy or stubbornness against a divine will. The mouth and jaw are associated with speech and expression of beliefs. The jawbone is interpreted as representing the perception and understanding of inner truths. And so you use your words are powerful. Your words have manifestation power. Your vocal cords your vocal cords vibrate on purpose to connect to the vibration of the universe. It connects to the vibration of your manifestations. And I believe it's the vocal cords that look like a vagina. I was supposed to say a vagina. Look like a vagina. Let me check on that. Yes, when viewed up close, vocal cords and a vagina can look very similar to an untrained eye due to their fleshy pink and opening structures. Both have openings and are supported by muscles, which is why there's a strong physical and energetic connection between the voice and the pelvic floor. Now that's interesting. But just like your vagina, if you are a born female, is the portal or the opening to the creation, you bringing energy into a human vessel through your portal and is connected to creation, so are your vocal cords connected to creation. Both act as gateways and require relaxation. Both act as gateways and require relaxation and lubrication to function properly. Both are supported by similar diaphragmatic muscle structures, which is why relaxing the jaw and vocal cords can help relax the pelvic floor and the vagina during childbirth. Now that's interesting. Or other situations. There's a direct correlation between the voice and the vagina, partly because in female embryos, the vocal cords and ovaries originate from the same organ. Now that's wow. I'm going to say that again. There is a direct correlation between the voice and the vagina, partly because in female embryos, the vocal cords and ovaries originate from the same organ. Bruh. Mm, mm, mm. I mean, and it's not by accident that your vocal cords are connected to you singing, you speaking life into yourself and others, just like your vagina gives life, brings life forth. You said it reminds you of something else to read. I'm hearing you also use your vocal cords to praise and worship. And the fish in Christianity and other religions is basically symbolic of the vagina, of creation, and so all of that is connected. And I believe that they pray, like they pray to that symbol. Or worship that symbol. Okay, so of course the fish symbolizes Christ. We worship Christ. So, you know, in ancient times it was used for secret communication during periods of persecution. So it says in some forms of Hinduism, there's a belief in the fish as a sacred avatar or mount of a deity, which is a separate and distinct worship tradition. Okay. So, I mean, you could draw the connection. Hey, good evening. You could draw the connection because, I mean, people worship Christ and that's a symbol of Christ, and it looks like the opening of a vagina. I mean, but all this is connected. All right. So they thought they were spies through God's eyes, but the divine shape shifts and has told them all myths. So what happens is a lot of times when like people are trying to do readings on people in an immoral, unethical way, I always say that as a spiritualist, you are not to do readings on people who have not given you express permission. There is a difference between doing an energy reading on someone and like a love reading where they have other energies within their energy. So you are reading their energy and any energy that's in their energy because that sitter has given you express permission. Now, if they start asking you questions specific to the person they're interested in, it's a no. I stop readings at that point. If someone asks me, is my ex friend? I had a reading like that. Is my ex friend doing spell work? We're not going there because I'm not doing readings on an ex friend. And also too, like I think the person was asking me, is my ex friend being spiritually attacked? No, we're not doing that because you being nosy. Because if I'm doing a reading for you and you're with your friend, your current friend, and I happen to pick up on the energy of your friend, that's different. Because I've done readings for a sitter and I'm reading the person and they're like, you're describing my sister's situation. And then they were like, let me go get her so that you can tell her this because she needs to hear this. That will happen. And if spirit wants that to come out, then it will come out. And that has nothing to do with me intruding on anybody else's energy. That, like with sisters, especially, like my sisters are in my energy. So if somebody picks up my sister's energy, it's because they're in my energy. That's different. But spirit, if someone is trying to do a reading on someone or trying to get information or trying to see if the spell worked, I've caught people doing that shit too when I do readings. The person will ask for a reading, just like a general reading, and hope that I will pick up on whether their spell work hit or was effective. And I'll pick up on that shit and call it out and be like, I'm not having that discussion with you. Because first of all, you shouldn't be doing that shit. And secondly, spirit is not going to let you know if it hit or not. And 9 times out of 10, it does not. I'm going to say 10 times out of 10. It may look like it does. It may have the resemblance of it hitting. But no, you're not that powerful. And especially if the person is heavily protected, that's really going to be a problem. You said, I will not lose my gifts because you're not in alignment. Exactly. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. So what happens is spirit will either give them a completely false reading, or they will give them the information that spirit wants to give them. And a lot of times spirit is real tricky, and they will make it seem like to the person who's doing these things that the spell work, was effective and hit properly and all that stuff. And meanwhile, it has no effect. I'm hearing null and void. And a lot of times spirit will do that with someone who they know is going to try to do spell work on that person if they think that someone else has effectively done it on that person. And so all of it goes back to testing. And so if you think that your ancestors and spirit guides of the highest light and vibration are going to tell you that whatever you did to someone in a negative manner was effective, you barking up the wrong tree. And you probably dealing with a very powerful energy who is shape-shifting to sound like, look like, the energy feels like an angel, an ancestor, or spirit guide that you have communed with before. Because I can tell you now, there are ancestors who were low vibrational in the physical and are low vibrational in the damn spirit. But I can guarantee you that if you are one of those people that are into stuff like that, those people will be blocked from communicating with you, and you will be communicating with spirit and think that you're communicating with them, and you will be completely deceived. And spirit will do that so that the person can just hang themselves, metaphorically. We're not promoting any violence. This is for entertainment purposes only. But yeah, spirit will let that person completely destroy themselves. I mean, we all have free will. We all have choices. And most times I will say this: spirit is loving and compassionate and will give people time after time after time to change their mind, to get it right. And then it gets to a point where spirit is like, okay, we're done. Because what happens is, the more this person thinks that their work is effective, the more they ramp it up and then do it to more and more people and think that and that's the other thing. Spirit will let these people think that their gifts are amplifying while they're doing this work on other people and trying to take what other people have, or try to stop other people and hinder their money and slow their progress and all these things. Meanwhile, these people are really pure-hearted. They want the best for people. They're trying to do work on behalf of the divine, but there's these other damn demonic ass energies that are trying to stop them because of jealousy, not wanting someone to be more powerful than them and like take their money or clients or whatever, take their shine, but that's why I talk about, I genuinely want people to win. I genuinely want to see people successful, and I genuinely want to create communities where people are genuinely supportive of each other. But I will not associate or affiliate myself with somebody in a heartbeat who is doing these types of practices, because it is unscrupulous. It is not supported by the divine or any energy that they're trying to connect to, period. Okay. And so I said, they thought they were spies through God's eyes, but the divine shapeshifts and has told them all myths, sending them on a wild goose chase. Excuse me, confirmation burp. So the spiritual significance of a wild goose chase comes from Celtic Christianity, which used the wild goose to symbolize the unpredictable and untamed nature of the Holy Spirit. And I just said shape-shifting spirit. It also signifies that the term signifies a spiritual journey of adventure, freedom, and discovery rather than one of safety and certainty, suggesting that following God means embracing unpredictability and sometimes not knowing where you are going. And so, yeah, like I said, they'll take you on a wild goose chase, not knowing where you're going, and just give you the opportunity to give you enough rope to say, we gonna let you run wild and free with unpredictability. However, keep on now, and we can show you better than we can tell you. It's gonna be, it's eventually gonna be very predictable when that justice and judgment hits. Okay. Unlike the gentle dove, a wild goose is loud, fierce, and difficult to track or domesticate. It says, which Celtic Christians felt better represented the Holy Spirit's power to disrupt, surprise, and lead people on unexpected paths. And so, like I said, Spirit's like, we gonna let you run free. And we gonna let you think that you're powering yourself up. And we gonna give you enough opportunity to change your mind and do something different. And then it's gonna be a wrap. So So I have some decorations outside with bells on it, and it sounds like somebody is out there jingling the bells. Hold on just a minute. That's not what that was, but it damn sure was a bell ringing. And that is all I needed to hear. Spirit clearing the energy. Because somebody watching me is pissed off right now. There's a lot of pissosity outside of this live right now. Because I'm calling these bitches out. Okay? I'm calling them out. But like Mace, can nobody hold you down when you wear the crown? What clowns? Let's get some Mace going up in here. Let's get some Mace. I was getting Mace, can nobody hold you down? And I was also getting Mace, horse and carriage. Actually, this is the Diddler featuring Mace. Now, somebody did hold Diddy down. So, when you act a fool, Spirit will sit your ass down. Floss you die quicker. Everybody want to be fast, see the cash, play around, they weak staff, get a heat rash. Didn't I say you gonna burn? He said bulletproof, we clash. Anything I touch, I bruise. Fuck niggas on law, we ain't stuck with rules. Good fellas, you know you can't touch us, dude. Don't push us, cause we're close to the edge. We're trying not to lose our heads. Make me wonder why you wanna take us under. Broken glass everywhere. And broken glass means that the curse is broken. Whatever the person was trying to do to you, if you breaking glass, the curse is broken. Not that it ever had any effect. Anyway. The thug be wanting to slug me. He said, brothers want to rock the rolls, rock the clothes, rock the ice, pull out Glocks, stop for life. I'm like, man, why these people gotta be trife? Got that trife. Used to be my man. How you gonna plot on my wife? Why they wanna take us under? I get the feeling sometimes that make me wonder why you wanna take us under. You a big cat, where your chicks at? Where your whips at? Wherever you get stacks, I'ma fix that. Everything that's big dreams, I did that. Don't knock me cause you're boring. I'm about to sail soaring, straight touring. You name it, I could claim it. Young, black, and famous, with money hanging out the anus.
that I ain't even drove yet.
We make kits that'll rearrange your whole set. Okay, so then I was hearing the horse and carriage they thought they were on to escape the RICO, because you know these folks, they be conjuring together in groups. Charge, it says, I said the horse and carriage they thought they were on to escape the RICO charges has run them over. Let's listen to horse and carriage. What they talking about? Ooh. So this is Cameron featuring Mace. We gonna rise to the top.
And yo, you might see Cam in designer underwear, no recliner leather chair. Reminders everywhere, how we pull up in the whip, the mind is stop and stare. And when it come to girls, they behind us everywhere. I mean, when I hang up on them, they pressure it down. I mean, what the fuck is it? Why you stressing me, child? It'd be one thing if you up finessing my style. But when I go to court, you know the dress of the trial. You're not my wife.
He said, when I go to court, you know the dress of the child. And I was just talking about RICO.
And the SC was gone. Are you sexy and thorns? If you're sexing and flex and you're happy to bone, I get you that shit that Gretzky skate on.
What you mean, Gretzky beyond?
Ice,
Oh, you gonna buy me diamonds?
Is for hire. Mamacita, please, señorita. We're gonna rise to the top. Horse and carriage. See my love for hire. Yo, hey yo, I love when cats think they're bigger than the sumo.
I love when cats think they bigger than the sumo.
You don't know what that is, that's when I say.
You don't know. And you don't know.
Your guns is hand me down.
And you don't know.
We'll put you where you can't be found. And you don't know. You better toughen up.
You better toughen up. We'll put you where you can't be found.
Baby, we don't need you. And when it come to Jimmy, my name's me too. Cause when he got cash, I was like me too. And when he got ass, I said me too. And when he got the drop, I was like me too. And when he almost got shot, I said me too. What you get now is just a preview. We all tinted out. Your car seat.
What you get now is just a preview.
Mamacita, please, señorita. We're gonna rise to the top. Horse and carriage. So my love for hire. Yo, and yo, I pull up to the hotel with my shit on black. Tell the valet, motherfucker, don't hit my jack. Seen a bellboy, nigga, he could kiss my ass. Just show me my room, nigga, and get my bag. So the girl, that's when HUD almost dropped his bag. I guess he was shocked when I touched that ass. But it really wasn't nothing, she was PDI. Cause that's ain't all the world, yeah, you reading it right. And we have in the party, beat it tonight. Like Phil Collins having in the heat of the night. Cause Cam rock the party all night long. Till when? It don't stop and it don't quit and a drop six and
It's a time for celebration. Wow, these people been run over by the horse and carriage that they thought was going to pass you and run you over. We rising to the top. Not only did they get run over by the carriage, but we took the carriage and took off. And I said the horse and carriage, they thought they were used to escape the RICO charges has run them over like old shoes. So run over shoes. Like run over shoes, they can and never will walk in yours. And I was getting the song Shoes by Lil Wayne, so let's listen to that.
Okay, no ceilings, motherfucker, good morning. Dick in your mouth while you yawning, I'm gawning. Gutter, why they started me? Molly, why they started me? I'll bring it to your front door like you ordered me. Back in this bitch with a lot more rich. On my Papa Bear shit, need hot porridge. Got a lot more shit than you can ever fathom. A big head nigga couldn't even imagine.
A big head nigga couldn't even imagine. Shit I do, most doers never done. He said, I'm flyer than the highest flying bird around this hoe. What the fuck your bitch got on her mind? My fucking dick, I call her dickhead. Spicy like a big red, strike you like a big head. Your flow sick, my shit dead. Sillier than Big said. Soldier bought an A-Rap. You should see my 11-year-old daughter do they dance. I call it the Nene dance. Proud to be Nene's dad. Gun on the waistline, leave you in the wasteland. We are not the same, I'm a Martian. He said, we are not the same, I'm a Martian. This is Space Jam. No ceilings, R.I.P. man, amen. Riding high like I'm on 54 inches. Stop letting the messy hoes mess with your business. The bitches leave y'all and really run to us. And payday comes sooner than later around here. And you see payday comes sooner than later around here. Hey, you better stop that hate around here. Whole court hearing trial and the case around there. He said everybody want to be fly, but I don't know where their wings at. My goons so gritty, my goons are so with me. Haters gotta go to iTunes to go get me. Gators, matadors, baboons, and those grizzlies all come out when I'm on the microphone in me. I've been here, but my soul is just arriving. Look up in the air. It's a crow. It's a robin. No ceilings. Full dose. I'm prescribing. Medication free. And for meditation weed. Sharp as a tack. Hotter than riding through the desert on camelback. Seeing through these see-through niggas like they're laminate. And I'm such a philanthropist, the God to these evangelists. Okay. So Jenna, I'm sorry for your loss. Well, I'm not sorry, but sorry for your loss. But the prices for my readings are on the screen. And I'm not trying to be funny, but, and I'm sure she left already because I didn't respond right away. Or maybe she's still here, I don't know. But I'm not trying to be funny, but had you inboxed me and said, you know, I have no money, I'm concerned about my family's future, and you know, could you help me? That's a different approach than seeing the prices on the screen and there's no indication that I'm doing free readings and asking for a free reading. And I'm not trying to be cold or heartless or anything like that, because like I said, if you had inboxed me and in a private setting and Spirit asked me to do a reading for you because you really need support right now, that would be one thing. But you know, and this is just to anybody, and Jenna, you can be mad at me if you want to, but it's disrespectful to do that. I used to do free readings on a regular basis, and I stopped doing that because it hinders the people who are out here exerting their energy, and this is their full-time business. I happen to have a job. I don't have to rely on readings in order to sustain me. Regardless, the divine sustains me. I don't need social media or anything like that outside of the divine. However, what I'm doing, what I do takes a lot of energy, and it's only right to respect my craft and other people's crafts and what they're charging for it. Anybody who's ever gotten a reading from me knows that you get an in-depth, priceless reading that does not compare to, I'm not going to say all other readers out here, but a lot of other readers out here. You get way more than bang for your buck. I could be charging thousands of dollars for my work, and that's not being cocky or thinking I'm better than anybody or anything like that. But I have had to get it out the damn mud to get to this point. And I don't think anybody that comes in anybody's life seeking a free reading will go to work for free and just go to work and not get a damn paycheck. That's lunacy. So, you know, like I'm not trying to be hateful, but people will use hardship and things like that to for sympathy to get stuff. And like I said, if you really genuinely bona fide do not have the means to pay $22 or $33, then you know, I can work something out with you privately. But it not only is disrespectful, but it diminishes the value of the person who is using their creative gifts in order to bless people, help people, feed into people. You know, like I've seen other readers who are like fast talkers using cards. Now there's one chick, she's a fast talker and she's using cards, but she has read me before, and she's actually a really good reader. The way she presents herself, she comes off as real gimmicky, but she's a bona fide reader. But that motherfucker will charge you $55 for like 6 cards and give you 15 minutes of her time on live. Straight up. So did she say something after I said something? You said blocked. Did she say something? You say, yes, I paid it and I regret it. Okay, so you know who I'm talking about? You said, no, I went to her page. Oh, what was her page talking about? That must be why Spirit told me to damn talk about that shit. Because I don't play that shit. I have a heart for children and all of that, but I don't play that shit. You said, no, just paid a lot of money. Okay. You said she's a whole scam. Yeah, for a mini reading, and then you get nothing. And I've watched people do that. Like they will be very charismatic, doing a collective that sounds wonderful and piques people's interest. I compare them to prosperity preachers, because they know how to string words together to make it sound beautiful, and then the cards come out and they know how to I'm hearing finagle shit to make it sound lovely and entice people to get a reading. And then you get a regular ass reading like, yes, on the full moon is significant, and yes, Capricorn placements, if you have Capricorn in your chart, that's significant. And yes, and you got the Lover's card, so you have love coming, and that's significant. You know, like I need something I can sink my teeth into. What we doing? I'm so serious. I'm not even gonna sit here and pretend like I'm a birth chart zodiac girly, placements girly. I'm not. And I have no desire to study that shit. I had my whole birth chart done. I'm interested in my chart. I'm not really interested in anybody else's chart unless it's the person I'm going to be with, and we can look at our compatibility and shit like that. But at the end of the end of the day, the divine is going to tell me who my divine counterpart is, and I'm not even going to give a damn what his chart look like, because it's divinely anointed and appointed. Okay, so I'm not the one for that. I'm not even going to look. I'm not. Somebody asked me the other day, would I mentor somebody for like tarot and teach them tarot? I'm like, I can't even teach you tarot. I'm still learning the shit myself. And my spirit guides are so against me using cards that they be having me go way out in damn left field with the interpretation on purpose. to stretch the hell out of me and force me to use my intuition more than the damn cards. So, I'm not even gonna sit here and hold nobody. You said, I'm like, preach it. You said, twin, you over there acting like me, child. I'm an enthusiast. And then you said, reading a birth chart takes a lot, and having them work with their placements and charts takes a lot. You said, baby, she being Mars. Yeah, I can't. Hi. Yeah, I can't. I'm not even going to. Yeah, because like the guy who did my chart, he's very intuitive and he uses his intuition to interpret charts. He studies all the different like tropical and like all the different zodiac shits. And then he does your chart based on the traditional zodiac or like the American zodiac. And then he uses his intuition to like dive into each placement and ask you, because like he was very accurate, because he was like, something going on with your dad and this and that and and I was like, yep, all that's correct. He was like, have you struggled in relationships? You get, like, so he went into all of that and he went into depth with it. I actually had someone purport to do my birth chart, and so she claimed that she did birth charts, and all she did was took my information and plugged it into one of these apps and read to me what I could have read on the damn app. Because I literally, after she did my so-called birth chart, I went to the app like months later and I was reading it and I was like, this is what this motherfucker was telling me verbatim. I was pissed because the thing is, I trusted her. She's actually a dope reader, but trying to delve into the birth chart arena and scamming niggas. So you have ninjas, pardon me. So you have all these gifts, you got all this power, but because you trying to make some extra money on the side, claiming to do birth charts as well, you scamming folks. And I was at a stage in my journey where I was kind of blown away with the stuff she was telling me. And then when I found out it was all a damn farce, I was like, hell no. You said that's awful. He said, no. Talk about belt to ass. People abusing. You said, there go that word, weird tongue. That's awful. It is awful. Thank you for the follow. Not so. Now I will say she's the first person that ever read me and told me I was a psychic medium. She told me a lot about my higher self and all that stuff. But not only did she scam me on the birth chart area, she withheld a lot of information as to who I am, because my higher self showed her exactly who I am in spirit. And she was like, she said, you've been, she was telling me she didn't understand that she was seeing my higher self. She was interpreting my higher self as like a grandmother, an older looking version of me, but my higher self shapeshifts. And so this was the first reading I had ever gotten. And so when she was looking at my higher self had kind of shape-shifted herself into like a grandmother looking figure because she knew that I could connect to my grandmother. And so she was interpreting my higher self as like a grandmother, and she was telling me that I had reincarnated as my grandmother. And I was so confused. And then she was like, your grandmother has been a like very important people in history. But then at the time, my mind was blown. I didn't even know what was happening. It was so much information at one time. And then when I doubled back a couple readings later, I was like, now you said that I'm the reincarnation of somebody who's been in history, and what does that mean? Who was I? And she was like, you know what? I don't know. I forgot. When it comes to me, I'll tell you. Later on, when I got with a mentor and my higher self was telling my mentor, we don't even want to talk about her. I was like, oh shit. She went from gifted as hell to damn op in 2 seconds flat. He said, well, I don't know, that's scammy. Definitely. I mean, but it's so sad. And that's what this reading has been about. It's been about very powerful beings who turn ops for money. And to be scammy when you have all these gifts, and when you read people that you feel like is going to be competition for you, so you don't want to give them the information that their higher self wants to give them because you don't want them competing with you, it's all bad. Because we all could have worked together and built each other up and elevated each other. Because on some real shit, she has a dope personality. When she would do my readings, it was very compassionate. It was very informative. She would give me direction. She would give me tips on what I could do to help with this and that. She knew that I was just starting my journey. It was like, she's a dope individual, but all that other shit got her jacked up. You said, come get the come get the Bobsy twins over here dancing. They're irky. You said I would have came through the phone. You said, Trent, this is Jill connecting with my ex Reese. Honey. Trinity, you in the wrong live for that. Thank you for the follow. Honey, I just got finished talking to Jenna about this shit. And she called herself the Holy Trinity. I think my readings brought the ops out. So, in honor of the ops, in honor of the ops, it's not this one.
Bring them out.
Oh, yes, it is.
Bring them out. Bring them out. It's hard to yell when the barrel's in your mouth. Come on. Bring them out. Bring them out. Hey. Bring them out. Bring them out. Bring them out. Bring them out. Hey. Bring them out. Bring them out. VIP coming live from the VIP. Heard the nightlife, lost life without me. Most feds in the state wanna see my knee. The whole city got pissed. Heard he got three. Got a hip and shout he not out. Who set the city on fire soon as he
You said I do tarot readers and energy readers on live for gifts, and damn, you make it. Yeah, don't do that, sis. Oh, she's a scam account. What are they doing with all those fake tarot reels following her? What is we doing? Yeah, don't do free pulls. And look, he said it's bedtime. Check a lane like a game of chess. You wanna be better, bring your best. Cause we be standing in your front yard yelling, bring them out, hey, I'm a hot girl yelling, bring them out, hey, all the dope boys yelling, bring them out, hey, the back day yelling, bring them out, hey, I'm a front yard yelling, bring them out, hey, I'm a hot girl yelling, bring them out, hey, all the dope boys yelling. But yeah, I was doing so when I was just trying to get my feet wet and trying to get comfortable with being on live and getting comfortable with using my gifts in, like a time pressure setting, and getting over the fear of embarrassment, getting over the fear of being wrong, getting over the fear of being seen. I was doing free readings. But what I realized I was doing is that not only was I diminishing my worth and value, I was avoiding charging because I had a poverty mentality. I also had a lack of self-worth, and I also had a fear of not having people in my life, a fear of just a lot of different fears around being an entrepreneur and charging and all of that stuff. And also too, I would go to other readers' lives who I really liked, and like this young man, he's so fine. He's gay, but he fine as shit. His name on here escapes me right now, but he's a dope reader, and he was saying that he was going to stop doing free readings because people don't respect free readings. And also, too, that was his full-time gig. I think he said it was his full-time gig. But, he was just basically saying that, people don't respect the craft. And so he was also like, doing free readings hinders other readers who are really doing this as a full-time business and will sit on live for like 5 hours at a time. I really like this guy that I follow. I can't think of his name either. What is the issue tonight? But I really like this guy, and he'll come on for hours and then take a break and rejuvenate and eat and then come back on for hours. And I mean, legitimately, if you're going to treat it like a full-time job, you really need to be on live for like 8 hours a day and or doing private readings or whatever. But it does, when you're a reader and you do that, it gives an expectation to people that they should expect free readings. And I didn't want to give that impression to people. Thank you, twin. You said right now is full time for me until I find a job placement. You said that's what they have me doing, and it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a whole lot. It drains your energy. You said I'm having to do them in the morning and the evening. Yeah, it's a lot. You said every reading I've got from you is worth every penny. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I like doing your readings. Your readings bring out some really interesting things for sure. You have very interesting energy. And it also challenges me, like your readings and like Lotus's readings challenge me, because those will be like the readings that are really heavily metaphoric. And so it kind of like stretches me, because I have to not only read the energy and translate it into language, English language, but I also then have to break down and interpret the metaphor that they're giving me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Oh, and so since you brought up her being the periodic table, Spirit is talking about like the earth salts. You can get since I know you said you had that you said an autoimmune thing going on. Spirit is saying to try using the different earth salts. You can get them in like a pack. I have them in like these little bottles, these little spray bottles, where you can just use some spray in your mouth every day. But they're not isolating it to any particular one. I'm hearing iodine, but I don't know, is that a salt? But maybe you're low in iodine. But that would be worth trying. You say, not them making me be your reminder. Now I know why the twins was over here whispering. You said iodine is connected to shellfish. Okay, so maybe that is a thing. Yeah. Are you allergic to shellfish? If you're still here. But you said that's exactly what you were thinking. Yeah, I'm wondering. But yeah, so let me pull some cards and see how that aligns with the reading we had tonight. I guess she left. But I was saying I need to use mine because I bought them and have not used them like that. Hopefully they still good because I bought them years ago. I guess they don't go bad or lose their potency. Higher self, can we get some confirmation? She said, I play my enemies like a game of chess. And that's what I was talking about. Talking about the ops. With some Gore-Tex and sweats, I make tricks like I'm homeless. Rap orgies with Porgy and Bess. Oh, Lord. This is the ops energy right here. I was talking about being in a state of just anxiety and indecisiveness, jealousy, not making good choices, not having, direction, just out here waffling. And when you're in fear of the unknown, when you're in fear of the future, it's all bad. And coming against these pure-hearted people that are out here just trying to be honest, trying to help people who have fought to get to this point. I'm hearing mothering energy, being direct. And that's one of the things about me is like, either you gonna love me or you gonna hate me, because there's some in between, but like the people that are in between, they're still like, she kind of makes me uncomfortable. And so either you really like me being blunt, forward, giving constructive criticism, or you don't. And so, but that's the type of energy that these pure-hearted people are in, and these damn ops fucking around and finding out. In this defensive energy, competitive, fighting with folks, creating unnecessary burdens for people who are just out here trying to make it like everybody else, not bothering anybody, forcing people to have to stand up for themselves and defend themselves against attacks and shit. Like, it's ridiculous. And this is op energy too. If you feel like you left out in the cold, if you feel like your money is funny, you gonna really be in some competitive energy, for sure. You're not trying to collaborate. You're not trying to work with people. You just trying to be, out here, being in a poverty mentality and trying to hustle your way. And that's what I was just talking about. Homegirl gifted as heck. And I don't even say heck. Who the hell said heck? Because I didn't want to say hell. Because that's like an oxymoron. If you're gifted as hell, I mean, I guess for an op, it would be gifted as hell because you in devil energy. But She was gifted and still out here scamming and shit. Thank you, Kobe, if that's how you pronounce it. You said, I like your lie. You said, I like that you make me uncomfortable because it forces me to do my work. Yeah, that's good. I mean, and when I say uncomfortable, I mean like uncomfortable where they like, I just don't want to be around this person. You know what I'm saying? Like the uncomfortable that you're talking about is the good kind of uncomfortable, like you said, that pushes you to be better. And that's all I'm out here trying to do. I'm not trying to break anybody's spirit. I'm not trying to create burdens or project onto people or anything like that. I just want to give people straight up readings that are, like I said, it's not so harsh that it would break a spirit, but it's not so sugar coated that you just out here thinking that there's just, you know, everything is good, there's nothing to do, prosperity, spirituality, you know, spirit's gonna do this and spirit's gonna do that. Yeah, spirit's gonna do it, but it's gonna take some work. I talk about a lot the fact that like I have recorded readings from like 2 and 3 years ago. We're talking about, I was getting readings. I love this one reader, Too Much Cynthia. I was getting readings from Too Much Cynthia when I was living in LA, struggling. I was at the lowest point in my life ever. I was in LA trying to hide because I had been publicly embarrassed from my awakening. And I was just out there trying to make it doing damn Instacart full time. And I don't know if you've ever done Uber or Instacart or any other them fuck ass app delivery shits, driver shits, but it's some bullshit. Because if you're really a fast shopper and you can get in and out of the store really quickly and get your delivery done in like 30 minutes, it might be worth it. But like I would be doing batches for $10. And in between shopping and delivering and all of that, especially if I couldn't get through the gate or the person didn't give good directions to their apartment or anything like that, it could possibly take me an hour. So you mean to tell me that I'm spending my time, my energy, and my gas and wear and tear on my car and putting mileage on my car for $10 an hour? Nah. In LA? Nah. You said I didn't mind driving Uber, but those other ones ain't it because I'm not picking up your food. Right. Well, see, I didn't want to do Uber because I didn't want people in my car. I didn't want people throwing up, pissing, and shitting in my car and stuff like that. But yeah, I preferred Instacart, and I knew what I eventually ended up doing, because people too, they be real picky. Like, I want this, it has to look like this, the produce has to look like this. And I'm not mad at it because I'm the type of person that when I shop for other people, I shop as if I'm shopping for myself. If it looks bad, if it looks bruised, I'm just going to tell you that they're out of it and all that's left, it looks terrible. I'm not going to give you something just because you asked for it. But people will get in the damn app and be messaging you the whole time. Hi, do you know about how long it's going to take? So were you able to find this? Were you able to find that? And then if I have to replace something, I don't want that. Or if I have to tell them they were out of something, well, just give me this or give me that or give me this. And then you that makes it even longer. Because you in there nitpicking every fucking thing. And then what would really piss me off is I would be doing all this damn shopping for these people in these big ass mansions in Malibu and all over LA, and either I would get no tip or like a $2 tip. Ma'am, sir, ma'am, if you don't get the fuck out of here, you just ordered $1,000 worth of fucking groceries, bitch. I done spent an hour and a half shopping for this shit, and you come outside and got the nerve to hand me $2, and you in a $50 million mansion, ho? And I already knew that I was doing that shit, and I would get orders for people who would do that so that the divine would mollywop their asses after I dropped them fucking groceries off. I would be so pissed, but I wouldn't even trip for too long because I'd be like, that motherfucker was set up for the okie doke because they gonna fuck their asses up metaphorically and spiritually. We're not promoting violence. You said someone to lie and say they didn't get their stuff. Now, yeah, that happened too. Not to me though, but that does happen. I've had one drunk and had to put him out at the store. I feel you. Because they'll get in your car and be acting all crazy and yelling and talking crazy. You said, send me the end of your live so I can watch. I have to hop on. Okay. Love you too. But yeah, so, nah, like, that whole experience was extremely humbling, and I know that I had to do it for a specific purpose. And yeah. The song said, I'm talking about getting it together, talking about dealing with the pressure, talking about letting it burn. That's what I was talking about earlier. Letting it burn, alchemizing that energy. And I was talking about the ops, impatient, hasty, lazy as hell, trying to steal people's gifts, out here with making poor choices, lack of good decision making. When you're in that energy, you in straight op energy. Feeling like you can't do it. He said they done woke up a sleeping God. Yeah, and I was talking about how I'm just straight, direct, to the point. People who are doing the work of the divine, they have clarity, they have focus. And I talk about how being on a horse, especially a white horse, is being carried by spirit. Overcoming your darkness, being on a white horse, which is light. Overcoming the darkness of your mind. Harnessing your power, I'm hearing. Being focused, being willing to take risks. And I was talking about how these ops are unjust, corrupt. I was talking about people doing shady ass readings, leaving out and omitting information because they don't want the person they're reading to be their competition. Spirit said, we bringing justice to all of this. fear of change, repeating patterns over and over again, which is damn insanity. Okay. Op energy all day long. While these pure-hearted people who are humanitarians are very, in all of their leadership energy, stable, dependable, I'm hearing. Disciplined. Yeah. People who are actually honing their craft, working on themselves. Pentacles are slow moving energy. This takes time. I was just getting ready to talk about how I have recorded readings from 2 and 3 years ago where it was like 10 of Cups, the Lovers, 10 of Pentacles, all of these amazingly like just wonderful readings. And I was talking about how I like the reader Too Much Cynthia. She would tell me stuff like the way you channel information and energy is changing. And, you know, she was the whole time she was channeling future energy. She was giving me future readings for this year. 2 and 3 years ago, she was giving me readings for this year. Like when she was talking about a lover coming in and all of that stuff. She was projecting those readings were into the future. And if I was not a mature person who was working on myself and balancing my energies and facing my darkness, I would have been like, them damn readings was a lie. They didn't, you know, like I would be totally misinterpreting the situation, and it wouldn't be the reader. I would be mad at spirit. I would be, you know, talking about, oh, I mean, now some people may think that the reading was a scam, but I've watched her enough and she's read me enough times that I know that she's the real deal, and she's an excellent reader. But for some people, they would just, you know, be mad at the divine and mad at all kinds of stuff. Hey, Caroline. Is it Caroline or Carolyn? I don't want to mispronounce it, but I'm good. How are you? Thank you for the likes. So, you know, like, this has been a time period where spirit has been sharpening me in a lot of different ways. Spirit has been keeping the numbers in my lives low. Spirit has been keeping my followers low. Spirit has been keeping my views low, because it's all a test. It's all a challenge. Can I still be consistent when nobody's in my life? Absolutely, because what am I doing? I'm recording content. When I chop my lives up into small pieces, that's content. I'm doing 2 things at one time. I'm putting myself out there. I'm practicing being seen. I'm practicing doing readings on the spot. I'm practicing doing readings in a time-limited environment. You know, just getting comfortable with being watched by other people and getting comfortable with being, you know, talked about or looked at in a certain way or interpreted in a certain way. They're having to refine me to the point where I don't give a fuck what people think about me. And if somebody were, like, if I was doing an interview and somebody were to say, yeah, we heard from your ex-husband or your kids or whoever that you did XYZ, I sure did. And, you know, like, you got to get to that point where you get out of that people-pleasing energy, out of that energy of being overly concerned with what people think of you. And that's what stops people. That's what prevents people from moving forward. That's what prevents people from stepping out in their power and in their purpose, is just being hung up on, I gotta have a certain amount of likes to be, you know, social media certified, and I need a blue check, and I need to have this amount of following in order for people to take me seriously, and all this and that. I'm at the point now where I don't care about none of that shit. I do a little bit, because I'm like, okay, Spirit, I've been consistently getting on live. I've been consistently posting. But a lot of what I do is for the future. Like, I have, throughout my whole entire life, I have been constantly in a state of doing things now for the future. And that's probably the biggest challenge for people in life, is, can you stay in the game even though it doesn't look like what you want your future to look like? Can you be patient enough and you know, long suffering is what I'm hearing, in order for it to look like overnight success? And if I were to blow tomorrow or within the next month or whatever, it would look like overnight success, but it would absolutely positively not be overnight success whatsoever. I have been actively working on myself all of my life, but consciously, with intention, working on myself since the early 2000s. We going on 20 fucking years now. In a mere 3-4 years, we'll be looking at 20 years that I have thrust myself into working on myself. You know, one of the catalysts was my divorce in 2009. And then I have progressively gone through different changes. It started with the Christian church, and then it progressed into just spirituality and studying esoteric knowledge, and then studying African spirituality. And it has been a whole journey over the past at least 20 years. I've always been divinely guided and protected throughout my life. I've always been channeling information, whether I knew it or not. But I have consciously made an effort to work on myself for the last 20 years. And for a good decade, more than a decade, I was on a straight struggle bus. On the struggle bus with 3 children. School-age children, with a master's degree, with a mortgage, divorced, with 3 children, straight up on the struggle bus. And then, once I got stabilized, or what I thought was stabilized, I had a massive awakening that totally flipped my entire world upside down and thrust me into a whole other state of existence. So now I'm completely at rock bottom, publicly humiliated, and running from, like, cut off all the so-called friends, cut off family. My family didn't even know where I was for like 3 months. And so, you know, I've been through a lot of different changes. I have been straight humbled, brought to my knees, humbled. And I'm not the type of person that I've ever been on no whack shit. I've always been a loving, caring person. Even when I was not a happy person, I wasn't the friendliest, nicest person, but I was never secretly or publicly wishing harm on anybody or wishing the worst on anybody, regardless of how they treated me. I have consistently been pure-hearted. She said, "Can you hear the beat within my heart?" That beat in my heart. And I just said that. But I have been consistently a decent person. I've never been out here scamming people. I've never been out here lying and cheating, and I've never even been a trifling female to dudes. Well, I'm not gonna say totally. But for the most part, I've always been a straight up person. Like, you know, when you're a teenager and all that, early 20s, you might do some little dumb shit. You know, that because you're a teenager, you're not really held accountable for. But I've never sought out to run people for their money. I've never sought out to just take advantage of someone's kindness. I'll break up with a person way before I would stay with them just for some BS. I've always been a hopeless romantic. I've always been more about love than money. I'm not going to be with nobody that I'm not physically attracted to. I've been there, done that. I will never do that shit again. And even then, like, it got to a point where I was just like, yeah, I can't even waste your time like that. And so, I've always been above board with people. I've been honest with people to a fault. Like, I wear my heart on my sleeve most times, and I'm very transparent. And I tell people my business because I feel like if me telling my business can help somebody else, then it's worth it, what I went through. But people used to take my kindness for weakness all the time, and will use information I gave them against me, will play in my face, and all kinds of shit. So half the time, it wasn't even beneficial for me to be a good, upstanding person. It would actually have been more beneficial for me to be trifling as hell. Not in the long run, not when it comes to spirit, not when it comes to my mission and purpose and the divine, and possibly running the risk of doing some dumb shit to somebody who's a very high-ranking spiritual being and very divinely guided and protected out here. It's not worth that. But like, from a human perspective, most people would have been like, yo, you too nice. You know, I mean, I did need to set boundaries. I did have to go through a time period where I had to learn how to set boundaries. But it wasn't, you know, for most people, they would have looked at it like, it's not even beneficial to be like this. I'm just going to be a damn hoe. I'm just going to be trifling as hell. I'm just going to run people for their damn pockets and shit. But I was never the person that could bring myself to do that. I was always one of those people that wanted to be self-made. I didn't want to have to be in a situation where I owed anybody anything, or I had to feel beholden to somebody because they were financing my life or whatever. Now, on the other hand, if a man be like, babe, fuck that job, I want to take care of you, I'll be like, I'm gonna be on the next thing smoking to you. Where you at? As long as it's a good person and the divine has approved of it and all of that. But yeah, like back in the day, I was real, I'm hearing stubborn, and but you know, that's being stubborn isn't always a bad thing. Because it forced me to level up, it forced me to do better, it forced me to get out of my comfort zone, it forced me to constantly want better, it forced me to seek out opportunities for me to improve and elevate and all those things. So it wasn't all for nothing. None of my experiences have been in vain. None of my challenges or hardships or trauma or turmoil has been for nothing. It's always been for my eventual highest and best good. And so, like I said, I've been moving in ways that would benefit my life years down the line. And I had to stay steadfast, and I had to continue to build my faith. I had to continue to trust the divine. I had to continue to trust my spirit guides. And then I had to learn how to find my power. Once I realized that I had spiritual gifts, once I realized who I was from a spiritual perspective, I then had to embody my higher self. I had to get integrated with my higher self. I mean, I've always been aligned and integrated with my higher self, but I had to actually, like I said, embody that in a human vessel. I had to call my power back, harness my power, and learn how to love myself, learn how to accept myself, learn how to not be in deep regret about my past and the decisions I made and the people I chose to be in relationship with, whether platonic or romantic. I had to forgive myself for the choices and people I had children with and who I married, and though all those things. I had to forgive myself for a lot. And you know, that's probably one of the hardest things you will ever do in life, is to truly be able to forgive yourself. And that's the only way to unlock the love within for yourself. And you know, the whole reading today was about ops and people who are constantly coming against you. Those people, there's no way that people who are in that energy could love themselves, operating like that, treating people like that, coming against people like that. And I realized that I was in the energy of someone who was finding myself, you know, being jealous and envious of people. Again, I wasn't like wishing harm on anybody, but just the feeling of being jealous or the feeling of wanting what somebody else had bothered me. I would like feel that feeling, and I would shake that shit off. How dogs be like shaking it off. I learned recently that that's the dog's way of regulating their nervous system. And when we regulate our nervous system, when we balance our masculine and feminine within, when we start to harness our emotions and all of those things, that's how you uncover the love within. That's how you start to embrace yourself as a whole person unconditionally. And I'm not talking about no cliche shit. I'm not talking about nothing that just sounds good. Because there's a lot of people out here who hate themselves and other people, but will get up here and make it sound great and, you know, really come across like they embody this energy and then get off alive and be, you know, trying to get high and drunk and drown themselves in damn retail therapy or food or all of the fucking above, or try to sex it away or whatever the vice is. And I'm not saying that I don't eat emotionally, or that I don't have bouts of retail therapy, or that I'm, you know, all the way arrived and perfect. I'm not. But I'm one of those people that I'll go to therapy in a heartbeat. I'll talk to my spirit team and admit to them what it is that's bothering me and ask for their help in fixing it. And I have to be okay with it not happening overnight. I have to be okay with not seeing change for a year or more. I have to be okay with uncertainty. And that's one of the things that I've had to learn how to do, is being comfortable with the unknown. Being comfortable with allowing spirit to surprise me and not having control over the outcome or control over the situation or knowing everything right now. That's some hard shit too. The song said, couldn't conceive there come a day. Love you until I fade away. You're my everything. Love of my life you are. And I mean, this is, you know, talking about romantic love, but this is really talking about self-love as well. As she said, it's like I'm transforming, not just the same. And at first I didn't even realize. In your presence, I feel like I'm more than I was before you came. So while I'm here, here's my refrain. You're the air that I breathe, my universe. That's how I feel about my higher self and my spirit team. The one that I need when loving hurts. I have been single for years. I have been getting readings for years about this divine union, my divine masculine coming in, talking about, oh, we have mutual friends, and I got a reading from a diviner. He's lighter skinned. And I was like, lighter skin? I really like chocolate men. But my tastes have changed over the years. When I was in high school, you couldn't catch me with anybody darker than, anybody lighter than black. But now I'm all about, are you a leader? Can you lead me? Can you guide me? Can you give me wise counsel? Do you make good decisions? Are you intellectual? Can we have a conversation? I'm a sapiosexual. Can you make love to my mind before you make love to my body? Do you have your stuff together? You know, are you at least working on your credit? Do you have some savings? Do you have a life insurance policy? You know, I'm about stability. I'm about building community. I'm about practicing what I preach. I'm about being with someone who I can stand behind 1000%. And that doesn't mean that the person has to be perfect. It just means that the person is trustworthy enough where I know that if the person makes a seemingly bad decision, I don't believe in bad decisions. I believe that you always going to learn something from the decisions that you make. There's always a lesson in everything. But if the person makes a decision that causes like a financial setback or something like that, I know and I trust in this person's leadership ability so much that I can still be like, it's okay. Like you make constant good decisions. There's always going to be a time when something may happen. We learn from it and we move forward. It doesn't have to be the end of the world. It doesn't have to be detrimental to our future. We just keep it moving. We bob and weave, because life is going to throw you curveballs and challenges and all that shit. And you got to be able to ebb and flow with life. And if you can't withstand the rain or the storms of relationships, then you shouldn't be in a relationship. You have to be able to support the person and stand behind them even when the going gets tough. And believe in that person when they don't believe in themselves. And that's why I would not even entertain any man who is involved in any kind of criminal activity, any kind of unscrupulous activity, because I need to be able to stand behind this man at all times and know that what he is doing is not out to harm anyone, is above board, is not trifling. Hey, Danny. So yeah, I got to be able, above all else, I got to be able to trust the person. And damn if the song on the thing isn't Trust by Keisha Cole. And I need you, baby, I really never leave you. And that's one thing about me, especially because I'm a Taurus. I have a lot of earth and fire in my chart. I am a very loyal person. Now, you're not going to lead me to hell and I go with you to hell. I'm not loyal like that. Gone are the days of being ride or die to hell. I'm not doing that shit. Definitely not going to jail for you. Now, we in a situation where we got to defend ourselves against some attack or something, that's different. But, you know, I'm not going down with you over some bullshit. But, like, when I love hard. When I lock in. I've always been like a one-man type of woman. I've never been on that, oh, I gotta date 2, 3, 5 people and weed people out and figure out who I want and all that shit. No, if I really like you and you ready to lock me in, then I'm ready to lock in, period. And you know that I like you if I spend any length of time giving you any amount of my energy. Like, if we can sit on the phone and damn cupcake for the whole entire day and or night, and like we teenagers in high school, damn it, I said be on the phone all day and the damn song on the thing is down my heart. If I can do that with you, then you know that I like you. If I don't want, if we've been on the phone for 8 hours and I still don't want to get off the phone, you know that I like you, because I enjoy my solitude. I enjoy my own company. I'm not in desperation mode. Even though I've been single for a long ass time, ain't nothing desperate. I love my peace that I have created in my life. I don't want nobody coming over here disturbing my peace. But if I give you my time and my energy and I pour into you and I speak life into you, that is a clear indication that I am really feeling you. Because one thing about me is I'm very clear, I'm very direct. I don't sugarcoat shit. I'm not giving empty compliments. I'm not just wasting words. Now, I have, you know, when I was reckless with my mouth, when I was younger, I have said things that I legitimately didn't mean. But I have learned from those experiences that once you say the shit, you can't take it back, because that person is always going to remember how you made them feel. And most people, you know, all that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never hurt me. That's a damn lie from the pit of hell. Because your words can destroy an entire fucking relationship. Your words can destroy a career. We see it every day on social media and online and shit. And my Mercury is in Aries. So my tongue can be sharp as a damn knife if I'm not careful. And I've always been just a very blunt and direct person. And that's why I said most people either love me or hate me, because I'm just going to say it how it is. Now, I'm not always, I know that there's certain environments where I can't say certain things. And so I cater my, you know, conversation to those environments. But I really hate being in those environments. I hate being in environments where I can't just speak freely, where I can't just say what I want to say, because I feel like that's doing a disservice to people when I can't just say what I need to say. Because if I say what I need to say, it can change somebody's life for the better. But if I hold back and let the person think that whatever they're doing is cool and is going to get them somewhere in life, then that's doing them a disservice. But I've also learned that, you know, different people have different sensitivity levels, and I have to be cognizant of how I interact with people. And that's like, you know, a whole damn message in itself. So, I'm about to get off of here so I can carry my ass to sleep. But thank you, Danny, for hopping in. I will see y'all later. And if my divine masculine is out there watching me, dial my heart. Dial my phone to my heart. Peace. Good night. This has been Amanda, aka Return of the Jedi. Peace, love, and hair grease.